Trust is the foundation of any financial institution's operations. But what happens when that trust is broken? Today, we're going to go into a shocking story about SCB, Saigon Commercial Bank, that is in Vietnam, and how they came to fall and who stole all their money. So this is Janta, and we're going to take you through the story where you can learn about greed and what it can do to you. So the story starts with a young Miss T. Her real name was Strong Milan, but we call her Miss T for this story. So she grew up in the village. She used to go to the market with her mom to sell cosmetics. So that's what people remember her for. And she grew up to become an astute businesswoman. She started her own cosmetic company. After that, she opened a real estate company. She became very, very successful. Then after she met this guy, who's also an investor, they grow the companies from just real estate and beauty. Now they own restaurants, more than 100, and hotels. And they've really become very, very well. I don't know what happened, but they decided to go into banking. And she perpetrated or she orchestrated a merger of 3 banks that were really struggling. And this came and they put it together into what we call the Saigon Commercial Bank. So SCB for this story. What happened? So she owns the bank. At this point when she starts, okay, so there are regulations that say you cannot own more than 5% as an individual of any bank. But what she does, she opens more than 1,000 shell companies. What does she do with them? She buys shares. She buys shares and Miss T ends up owning more than 90% of this bank. Then the story doesn't end there. You may ask, so what is the problem? The problem is she starts taking loans. So depositors put money in the bank. She takes loans with her other shell company and she's not paying them back. So you go to the bank, yes, on paper, you have put in 100,000, but the money is really not there. But at this stage, Vietnam is so corrupt as a country that nothing happens. You lose your money, you probably figure out, okay, I can't make my money here, I go to another bank. But eventually the government starts becoming serious about corruption. Why? Because it's gotten to a point where investors are really leaving the country, and it's gotten to a point where if they don't fix the corruption in the country, they will collapse and they will lose power. So the government starts eradicating corruption. It's an operation that has its own name. I think it's wildfire or something like that, but we'll get to the details later. But they go into corruption, and especially because they want to make an example of the people they're putting there, so that internationally they can be seen that they're trying to fix the nation. Because they have such huge companies in the country. They have Samsung, they have Apple, they have a lot of other companies that are global that want to invest in the country. So who do they go for first? They go for Miss T. Miss T is taken to court. It turns out she has borrowed so much from the bank, she's even hiding more than $2 billion in her basement. You can imagine this is $2 billion would require you to move them into trucks, because this is about 2 tons of cash money that she's hiding in her basement. Why? We don't know. But she's arrested. There are 90 other people who are also arrested. In this case, her niece, her husband. And you know what happens? They sentence her husband 9 years in prison, her niece 14 years in prison, but Miss T gets sentenced to death. So this is in March 2024. She's not dead yet, but we're waiting to see what happens. What does this mean when you're doing business? Learn to be satisfied with where you are. If you get greedy, it will not end well. No longer chasing deals that your business can do, you're not trying to defraud people. It will land you in hot soup. So as a member of our community, we hope that this story has made you learn a thing or two, and we'll see you in the next one.